Morning guys, this video is going to be a little different than most of my other videos because today I kind of want to talk about acquiring a business. And by the way, I'm going to do a review of this car very shortly, but today I want to talk a little bit about buying businesses. So if you're like most people, you're always kind of wondering how I can make more money. So the real question is, how do I do it, right? How do I get ahead? How do I get to that next level? I found in the Dodge Viper community that a big chunk of those folks were entrepreneurs. I can't speak to the community of like Lamborghini and Ferrari, but I have a sneaking suspicion that they're in a similar boat. You find, surgeons, you find entrepreneurs, you find really people of those high income levels. The real question is, how did they get there? Well, if you're going to be a doctor, that's a no-brainer. You go to school, you do the work, you get good grades, and that's how you become a doctor or a surgeon. The other question is, how do I do it being an entrepreneur? And I think a lot of people don't even think about acquiring one. They just think, what business can I start that makes a lot of money? It's something that you guys really need to think about to elevate, to jump to that next level, is acquiring a business, meaning buying a business that's already existing, already making money. So those of you who don't know, my wife and I purchased a group of 17 stores of tax preparation service. I've always been an entrepreneur. My wife has always been in corporate America. Her company got bought out and her job was on the line. So we decided to go ahead and look for another way of her hard work paying off. So part of it is really being able to work really hard and getting the fruits of your labor instead of somebody else getting the fruits of your labor. All right, can we take a break here for a minute to do a little 0 to 60? The car is not warmed up and the tires are not warm, but I gotta have a little fun here. Pretty quick. Man, I love driving this thing. It's not as fast as the Viper, obviously, but it is surprisingly quick. So I want to give you guys some basic knowledge on acquiring a company and sort of what it costs to buy a company. I think in most cases, you're looking at a multiplier of about 3 times net profit. So meaning whatever the business is earning after cost, like your take home, you're going to pay about 3 years of that in order to acquire the company. If you have any questions about that, leave a comment down below. I'll explain a little bit more about that. But the good news is there's something called SBA loans. SBA loans are something that is a loan to acquire a company. It's a loan to acquire a company and the government backs it. So you go and you put a down payment down, a bank picks up the deal, and the government says, we will pay if this person defaults on his loan for one reason or another. Now, mind you, SBA loans are not the easiest thing in the world to do, but they are pretty much the only loans that I would take because in order to qualify for an SBA loan, the business has to be really, really set financially. Their books need to be clean. You need to jump through all these hoops just to qualify for the SBA loan. So when you're buying a business, why wouldn't you want the books of that business to be clean? So again, the question is, why buy one instead of starting one, right? So there's some advantages of both. When you start one, you can learn the business from the ground up and you can take your time learning it. But then again, that's also the downside of starting a business, right? You take your time. It takes a long time to really learn a business and start it from the ground up. You've got to build awareness. You got to get your name out there. And that just doesn't come overnight. Now, on the same token, acquiring a business has its own headaches as well. The positive side is people know you already and there's already income coming in. There's already a revenue stream. You're already going to be profiting from day one. But the headache is you don't know what sort of cobwebs are in the corner and what sort of problems the organization has. I mean, the previous owner, he spent 25 years building this company. I don't have that time. I needed and wanted that revenue immediately. So for me, it was a no-brainer. I will deal with the headaches as they come, but I will get that revenue, year one, day one. Now, that's not to say that starting a business isn't the right way to go. If you don't have a lot of capital, there's a lot of businesses that you can start in order to save, in order to put down on a business, a bigger business acquisition like the one that my wife and I bought. The key is you need to keep your credit good and you need to save. So whatever it takes, you need to figure out a living scenario where you can save more than half your paycheck. For me, my wife and I, we saved her whole paycheck. I went ahead and took care of all the bills and we saved her whole paycheck, and that's the way that we operated. So if you can find somebody who kind of has the same goals of you financially, great. If not, and you're solo and you're single, figure out a way to live like in poverty. I mean, I'm dead serious. Go get a roommate, be a roommate, rent a room in a house, move in with the folks, save your whole paycheck. You'd be surprised what you can save in just a couple of years if you really applied yourself. Once you get there, once you've saved that money and you've done the hard work doesn't stop. Now it's time to do your due diligence, research businesses that you want to buy. One of the threats of the businesses that we purchased is that you've got all these online companies that are doing your taxes for really, really cheap. So that's sort of a threat that we had to consider when we were purchasing this company. So, take all the threats into consideration. Now, the fun part, let's do some rough math here. I'm going to keep it easy. Let's say that you're buying a company that is profiting, $500,000. Let's just say it's $500,000. And for simplicity, let's say that it's for sale for $1.5 million. It's not just going to cost you $1.5 million because you also, in that loan, you need to incorporate some operating capital. When you walk into the business, you've got to be able to pay the bills before the money starts coming in. So let's throw another couple $100K into that loan, and now you're at $1.7 million. So you're really approaching $2 million. Now, when we purchased our business, SBA rules and regulations were much different than they are in 2018. A lot has changed, and it's made it way easier to acquire a business than it was when we bought it. I think that a lot of people just don't have that in their mind, and they don't think that I can never do that. It doesn't pop in their mind, but I'm telling you guys, it is a lot easier to do it now financially than it was when we did it. We had to put 25% down. So when you have to put that down, and usually the bank will require that you have some money in the bank, or they want collateral and stuff like that. So really, it got really expensive. The good news is SBA only requires 10% down. Okay, let's scale this back now. Let's say that you're finding a business that is profiting only about $330,000, which is a lot of money, right? But let's say it's profiting $330,000 and it's for sale for $1 million. $1 million. You only need to come up with $100,000. And the bank note on that, okay, I don't know, rough math here, maybe about $150,000 is what you're going to pay the bank per year. That means that you're going to be taking home another $150,000. That's not all your take home, because in that bank, okay, in that bank note that you're paying every year, that $150,000 that you're paying to the bank every year, $75,000 of that goes to the principal. Kind of like when you're paying a mortgage, right? You've got interest and you've got principal. Well, when you buy a business, you're paying into the principal that is building your net worth. So every year, it's like $75,000 is going into a piggy bank. SBA loans are 10 years, right? SBA loans are 10 years. So in 10 years, not only are you not going to be paying that $150,000 anymore, right? So that $150,000 now goes directly to you, and it's not going towards the bank. Meanwhile, you probably should be improving your business and earning more money. But if you did decide to take your time and pay it off in 10 years, you've got $1 million asset that you can sell now for $1 million. So you've been making $150K, and now in 10 years, you've got $1 million asset. Now you can scale that up or scale that down. I'm just using these numbers to be very, very easy math. But you can see how it would take to purchase a $2 million company or a $3 million company. If you want any clarification or if you want any help, leave a comment. I can do some math for you. I can just kind of sort of tell you what we've dealt with. But also, you don't have to take the 10 years to pay off the loan. You can pay it off much quicker. If you save, if you still live below your means, you pay off that loan quicker. Now you've got, let's use that $1 million loan scenario that I was talking about. Now you've got a $300,000 income coming in. And that's a great income. If you bought something that's netting $500K, right? The loan, depending on how much you put down, right? The loan's going to be about $170,000 a year. So you're bringing home around $300K after debt services, but you've got a good chunk of money, about $80K, that's going into your principal every year. So that's money that you're saving. That's that piggy bank that I was talking about every year. It's building equity, just like you are when you're paying your house mortgage. It's building equity every year. Now, a couple of things to take note of. SBA has a cap as to how much they will loan you. Right now, the cap is $5 million. So now, when we purchased, we couldn't afford a $5 million loan, especially at 25% down. It would have cost us over $1 million to put down. So we didn't do that. But I can tell you, after 2 years of doing it, we are now looking to expand, and now we're looking to get our next couple $1 million loan. That's part of the reason why we sold the Viper and bought the house that we bought. And usually, I don't recommend paying cash for a house, but nonetheless, we had to do what was right for us at the moment. We tried to get our earnings to debt ratio proper, so that we can expand now. So we're actively looking for our next acquisition. So just going back to our $1 million, because that's a little more attainable. It's only going to cost you $100,000 to put down, and that's something everybody can save. I don't care what you make, you can save $100,000. You can. I don't care if you make $30,000 a year. If you situate yourself in a way that you don't have bills, you can save $100,000. It might take you 5 years, but you can do it. So I'm trying to address sort of all walks of life. People that have some change in the bank, I don't know, $500,000 and under, and people that are just kind of starting out, wondering what they can do to make money, and they really don't have any money. Don't get discouraged if you don't have money to put down right now, and don't be afraid if you do have $500K sitting in the bank that you've been working hard and saving hard. I understand it can be very, very scary to try to put down your life savings on a business, but it's also very rewarding. So I didn't really have a storyline or a script to follow here, so I'm sure I left a ton of stuff out. But if you guys have any questions, and which I'm sure you may, feel free to leave a comment down below. Hopefully you guys like this video. I know it's very different than my car videos, but it's something that I've always kind of wanted to do. I've just been a little bit afraid to do it because I didn't really want to get too personal. But it's something I'm super interested in. It's something that I love. So I figured, what the heck, why not make a video? So if the video is something that you liked, if it's something that intrigued you, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're into cars, because that's what this channel is mostly about. But if you guys do like this content and you've got questions, I may do a follow-up video. Let me know.